Ladies and gentlemen, it would seem as if the president of Colombia, El Presidente Petro, has chosen to find out the hard way. You see, as you might have heard, the US is now using military transport planes to mass deport illegal immigrants back to Latin America. And so, just yesterday, two of these planes were loaded to the brim with Colombian illegal immigrants and headed back to Colombia. Now, this is where things took a turn for the worse. You see, Presidente Petro decided that he didn't want to take back his illegal immigrants and refused to let the planes land in Colombia, ultimately sending them back to the US. Now, as you can imagine, this was unacceptable for President Donald Trump. So check this out. As this was happening, Trump was actually playing a few holes of golf. When he heard the news that Colombia had turned the planes away, he immediately stopped, decided to go absolutely scorched earth, and then sent out the following message. I was just informed that two repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro, who was already very unpopular amongst his people. Petro's denial of these flights has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States, so I have directed my administration to immediately take the following urgent and decisive retaliatory measures. A 25% tariff on all goods coming into the United States from Colombia, increasing to 50% after 1 week, a total travel ban and visa revocation for all Colombians, and a total shutdown of all US owned banking and financial institutions in Colombia. Then, to top all of that off, Trump posted this image saying, FAFO, F-A-F-O, mess around and find out. And so, guess what happened? El Presidente immediately capitulated and decided to send his own presidential plane to the US to pick up his illegal immigrants. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about having a strong leader that is willing to look out for American interests, this is exactly what we're talking about. Trump put the Colombian president back in his place in less than 5 minutes while playing a round of golf. That's the power of having a strong leader, and that's why we all voted for President Trump. Now, here's the funny and honestly kind of sad thing, though. El Presidente Petro also decided to impose a reciprocal 25% tariff on the US, probably because he was getting mocked by every person on the entire planet and he wanted to try to save face. Well, guess what? Even that didn't last. El Presidente Petro just keeps on taking loss after loss. Take a look at this. Late last night, after all of this stuff had taken place, the US press secretary released the following statement. The government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal aliens from Colombia returned from the United States, including on U.S. military aircraft, without limitation or delay. Based on this agreement, the fully drafted tariffs and sanctions will be held in reserve and not signed unless Colombia fails to honor this agreement. The visa sanctions issued by the State Department and enhanced inspections from Customs and Border Protection will remain in effect until the first plane load of Colombian deportees is successfully returned. Today's events make it very clear to the world that America is respected again. President Trump will continue to fiercely protect our nation's sovereignty, and he expects all other nations of the world to fully cooperate in accepting the deportation of their citizens illegally present in the United States. So there you have it. Colombia ended up completely rolling over for President Trump. Which is so weird when you think about it, because the progressive media in America spends all day yapping about how Trump's tariffs are just too insane to work. But you know what isn't weird, guys? Subscribing to this channel if you enjoy the content. It really does help a lot. But so here's the crazy thing about all of this. Colombia is absolutely screwed without the US. If we were to cut them off from our economy, they would be completely toast. Which is probably why they ended up capitulating so fast. Now, take a look at this. As of 2022, around 25% of Colombia's economy was dependent on various economic interactions with the United States of America. So President Petro's little stunt here might have ended up costing them around $91 billion per year if things hadn't gotten resolved. Okay, but so that's how they benefit from us. Do we really benefit from them? Well, not really. You see, Colombia's top 3 exports to the United States are crude petroleum, coffee, and cut flowers. And as you all know, we're about to unleash our own domestic energy sector, drill baby drill, so we don't really need Colombia's petroleum. We also don't really need their coffee because there are lots of other countries we can get it from, and with the flowers, I know Valentine's Day is coming up, but I just don't really think this one is that big of a deal. But so the point is, it's absolutely idiotic for Colombia, of all countries, to try to pick an economic fight with the United States of America. And I mean, really, it's idiotic for any of these Latin American countries to try to pick an economic fight with the US for that matter. And once again, it's not like we're asking a whole lot of them. Literally, we just want them to take back their own citizens that have illegally immigrated into our country. That is it. But now, speaking directly about Colombia again, I sure hope they're ready to keep on taking our deportees because I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of them. So far, just about every single day of Trump's presidency has seen an increase in deportations, meaning that Trump's mass deportations have been exponentially increasing. And on top of that, ICE estimates that we have around 200,000 illegal immigrants in our country from Colombia alone. So I hope that El Presidente Petro is ready to take all those people back because I'll tell you what, that's exactly what's going to be happening. And hey, keep in mind, this is the guy overseeing the entire operation.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
So you know we are not messing around. In fact, just yesterday, Trump ordered that ICE make at least 1,500 arrests per day at a minimum. So at the absolute minimum, this would mean that around 2 million deportations are going to take place over the next 4 years, on top of all of the self-deportations that are happening right now. Because I'm not sure if you guys have seen, but every single day on social media, there are photos getting posted of massive caravans of cars loaded up with all of their belongings, stuck in traffic as they head to the southern border to go back to Mexico. Because they know the jig is up. It's only a matter of time before they get deported, so they might as well leave on their own terms and make it easier for everyone. And you know what? Based off of everything that we've seen in the last couple of days, I have a feeling that this stuff is going to continue to ramp up in speed. I also think that this recent interaction with the president of Colombia just sent a big message to other countries that were thinking of messing around with America in a similar way. The message that just got sent is this: if you try to play games with Trump and the United States of America, you will lose. End of story. And not just lose, but pretty much be brought down into complete and total economic ruin. The reality is that all of these countries south of the border are completely dependent on the American economy. If we cut them off, they are done. But hey, I think that's all I've got for you guys with this one. Colombia tried to step up and mess around with the US, but ultimately they ended up finding out real quick and they just completely capitulated. And so between you and me, I don't think any other Latin American countries are going to be trying anything like this again anytime soon because now they know what happens. But hey, I want to know what you guys have to say about all of this, so please go down below and drop a comment. Please like the video if you liked it. Please consider subscribing. It really does help a lot. Thank you all very much for watching, and of course, as always, stay safe.